Well, the PuSh International Performing Arts Festival begins tomorrow, and one of the shows at the festival is called Everything Has Disappeared. It's a show about the role Filipino people play around the world as domestic workers, as healthcare workers, as seafarers, and it asks the question, what would happen if every Filipino person in society suddenly disappeared? Here is part of the trailer for that show.
In the first quarter of the 21st century, Filipino people were everywhere, involved in everything. We took care of you. We fed you, we healed you, we banked you, we flew you, we kept the whole thing running. We didn't rule the world, we were the world. And on this day, at exactly this moment, we vanished.
Copy that. Stand by.
Now, that is part of the trailer for a show called Everything Has Disappeared. It runs at the PuSh Festival tomorrow night, or from tomorrow night. And artist and producer Hazel Venzo joins us in studio this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us. That was a heck of a trailer for the show. And it does ask that very startling question. And it's almost something like from a science fiction movie or something. What would happen if Filipino people around the world suddenly disappeared? Where did that come from?
Well, it came from a pretty shocking sight in Hong Kong. One of my collaborators, Darren O'Donnell, witnessed the occupation of Filipino domestic workers on a single day off, and it's really striking. And that question started from, well, what would happen if there are so many women taking space and enjoying themselves on single day off? Mm-hmm. What would suddenly happen? What does the world look like if everyone takes a day off? And then it was like, oh, the day off and no days at work. We take a look at the impact of that within the ways that we interconnect with Filipino labor in our own cities and around the world.
And there's a line in the show, in the description, that says, Filipino hands keep the world turning, often without acknowledgement or visibility. Talk about that lack of acknowledgement, that lack of visibility, and how it's felt within the community itself.
Well, I think the lack of visibility is pretty natural, right? We don't necessarily take note of the people who are going to help clean and organize our spaces after we work. It's a built-in system, and it is often occupied and it's filled in. Those invisible spaces are filled in by labor from the diaspora. And the Philippines has a really ubiquitous case. The labor is all over the world, mm-hmm. and that is really their main form of export and resources. Sadly,
and there are a lot of personal sacrifices that come along with that labor. Are people always aware of that?
Well, I wouldn't say to the extent that they really do have to cope with Filipino laborers. You would imagine, okay, yeah, there's people on container ships that definitely cruise through here in this coastal. On this coast, but I don't think anyone really understands the not only the work of that human, but the sacrifices of not having a stable home, a stable lifestyle, really constantly living on just a temporary life.
Right. And so let's talk a little bit about what people can expect to see with the show. We saw a little bit of the trailer, as I said, but as I mentioned, it almost has kind of a sci-fi feel to it, I guess, when, suddenly this happens. How do we actually experience this when it's happening on stage?
Well, there is an element of fiction for sure, mm-hmm. to help us really kind of get into the mind state of imagination. But, I am the host, and I lead the audience through an interactive experience to engage the audience through by trying to imagine and actually physically do and kind of become, mm-hmm. in some ways, a Filipino. It's pretty different. It's really silly and it's cheeky, but it's the way that we can imagine not only where we are and what roles we fill, but how we fill them.
Right.
And that is through this very unique kind of way and I'd say cultural value or ideology or approach to the ways in which we fill those spaces, and to allow it that allows the deeper reflection of, wow, this is the work. These invisible jobs are not only filled by people who struggle to keep those roles and to struggle to keep a livelihood back home, but they also embed that work with a very deep quality. It's not mechanical. It's actually quite emotional.
I may have sat through too many Marvel movies, but I think about the idea of, somebody suddenly disappearing in a stroller rolling down the street by itself, or, something in a hospital room falling to the floor.
Yeah. We started our research back in 2018, and I chatted with some scholars in the Philippines actually too, human geographers, asking the question what they think might happen. And, I'll never forget that the first impulse was, oh, we'll be hearing people cry out loud, right? Children will be.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, I think, what people do. I mean, that's what makes such a point here. It is just imagining, that moment.
Yeah, and we in the show we really try to engage the audience to feel that, not the gravity of the pain or whatever that might be, but to feel the quality in which we approach work.
Right.
And that is cheekily, uniquely Filipino. And so that's the play in the show, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, tell me about, obviously a person who benefits from Filipino labor is going to see the show very differently than Filipino people will see it. How do you think people from the Philippines will actually see it?
They will, from the past versions and presentations we've had. This is very special here in the Western Coast. It'll be the premiere here. We've done it once in the prairies and then in Norway, an international country where, the diaspora is much smaller but very strong. And the across the board, it is Filipino communities feel very seen, because we not only talk about what we do, where we are, but it's the how. And I don't think no one has truly attempted to understand that or portray that or convey the how.
You've performed in the Philippines, but have you ever taken this show to the Philippines?
Not yet, and that would be perfect, right? It would be the show was built to travel around the world. It really should.
Hazel, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for stopping by. What a fascinating idea and performance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and I really hope to see the people in the audience. It'll be a lot of fun.
It will be. It sounds amazing. Thank you so much. That's Hazel Venzo, the artist and producer of Everything Has Disappeared. It runs at the PuSh International Performing Arts Festival from tomorrow until February 1st. We have a pair of tickets to give away to tomorrow evening's show. It's at the York Theatre in Vancouver at 7:30. Send us an email if you're interested. We'll pick a winner at random. So send us an email, earlyed@cbc.ca, earlyed@cbc.ca. We will choose a winner at random for a pair of tickets to see the show at the York Theatre.